Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to PSGL Season 29. We're here for F13, the first of the PlayStation Leagues. We're back with F13. We are here for round 13, I believe, in USA. Last time out we saw Dion Null win in Mexico. It's not I wouldn't say it's a similar track at all, obviously. In real life Grand Prix we saw Max Verstappen win here in Mexico, where it was really dominated. This track is usually dominated by Mercedes in real life, but less of the real life stuff. We're straight in to the action because we had a bit of delay. That's why we're a bit late. Obviously, I would be joined by Tom. I hadn't had any notice where he is, so I am doing this on my own. But yeah, there's 19 drivers. We believe we're waiting for one more to join through qualifying, but to drive qualifying. But yeah, Dion Null kind of grew back into championship. I was a little bit outside chance. He won last time out in Mexico, not quite convincingly, but we will see how he gets on this weekend, this Thursday. Obviously, the drivers saying that they have been struggling around the circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas. The atmosphere here in real life was absolutely amazing. I would dream to be in a circuit like this. It is a very good track, you know. But we will see there's some tricky corners like that S section there in Sector 1, as you can see. That little twisty section in Sector 2 is quite difficult, but it's very easy to invalidate a lap. I believe Josh is the first one out on the track. It is very easy to invalidate a lap around here, and you know, I will turn my game sound down actually because it's very loud. It is very easy to invalidate a lap round here. But as Joshua has done it in Sector 1, but you know, there are some tricky corners on this track. Like that one there is very tricky because you want to get to the outside as far as possible, then you also don't want to invalidate. Going into the hairpin here, one of the overtaking opportunities. Realistically, you should wait before you go. It's a really long straight with a DRS section on it, DRS zone on it. You know, this track will provide overtaking. It does usually provide overtaking. Also, we saw a famous incident in 2015 at the start between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton in the wet of intermediate tyres. It's very similar to Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton this time last week. But let's see how Josh does on his last. He'll come around the triple right-hander, a unique corner, so they say. The triple right-hander then, very unique. Max Verstappen obviously overtook Kimi Raikkonen here in 2017. And obviously got punished because he overtook when track limits was out, and they introduced the Verstopper for the year after that. Fun fact there. Where Kimi Raikkonen went on to win. But here we go then, a lap of the Circuit of the Americas. Turn 1, uphill braking. You can brake a little bit later, get onto the curb, and you want to make sure the car is nice and opened up for turn 1. Turn 2, the long right-hander, very tricky in MotoGP, but this isn't MotoGP, this is F1. It's an easy flat out into the tricky S section here. Very easy to validate. Flat for the first bit, and then you've got to lean off the brakes, lean off this, but it's double right-hander coming into the left section now. Again, quite easy to validate, but this is the right-hand section where it's uphill, it's off camber into the left corner. You navigate turn 1 into turn sector 1 very quickly, yeah, good, quickly, and good into the hairpin now. You want to open on the outside, make sure the corner's opened up nicely, clips the curb, does very well. Bit of a poor exit, but you go on to the DRS straight for the first time as he opens the DRS. Approaching 185 miles an hour as we go down with the longest straight on the track by far, coming into a very tricky downhill braking. Does it well, very easy to lock the left front there. Clips the outside curb into an off camber right, and then into a second right, and into what is one of the hardest corners on the track. It's not the hardest. It's downhill. It's very easy to lose it on no TC. It does quite well, and into the triple right hander. This would be beautiful to watch on board. Basically flat out. Oh, he's lost it. Lost the back end. Very odd to lose it because it's usually flat, but we'll go on board with, I believe, Sabetti as he comes through the flat out right. And Josh wants to get off the racing line into the left. In IndyCar, Sabetti takes it pretty poorly because Josh was a bit distracted. With a distraction. Obviously in IndyCar they would go right outside, forgetting track limits even existed. Turns into on a corner, and you have the 1:34.398. Excuse me. Start off the qualifying section. I believe there's a Mercedes out on track. There's Gerber on the outlap. I believe there's a Red Bull of Stay as well. But your championship leader is Dino. He is still the championship leader after last week. I will get up how many points it is because I do need to check because that is poor professionalism from me. But the Empire, he's in reserve for this week in Alpha Tower, in the Alpha Tower seat, in phase with the killer's seat. It comes across the line, it's a 133.814. It's a good trap. It's a good opening banker as well. Comes across the line, it's at the 135.0. I'm going to get the championship standings. Flying quite as 153.6, so he must have backed off somewhere. I will just get the championship standings up now. He's locked up into turn 1 there. As I say, it's a bit of uphill braking. It can be easy to lock up the fronts, and Sar King enters the fray with a 133.4. So you get the standings up right now. It is Dino who leads by 14 points to Gareth Ford. He's gone, he's backed off. He's invalidated at the S section. We'll stick on board with him as we read the championship standings out. From Gareth Ford's 14 points behind, and another 10 to stay, who's been on a bit of a roll recently. 3 podiums in his last 5 races, and including back-to-back wins at Canada and Portugal. Then you've got Dion Knoll in 4th, who is 16 points off stay, 42 points off Dino, obviously stay, I believe, no sorry, 26 points off, oh, I cannot read, 26 points off Dino. So there is a bit of potentially, it could be a 4-way fight, and the Construction Championship is basically Red Bull have sealed it nearly, 169 points to 108 of Aston Martin. So yeah, I believe that is that. The Construction is practically sealed up. Flying quite struggling a little bit with braking, obviously off the ABS. We're going on board with Istrai, he's coming across his lap. I believe Marlon's actually going to go, he was 3 tenths up, that's invalidated. Who's behind him? I believe it's Luke to Red on a lap. Yes, it is. He'll come into the penultimate corner. Very tricky to, very easy to invalidate. Goes down to the inside, clips the curb, misses the apex a little bit, opens the DRS, comes across the line, goes P5 134.461. I believe the next car to set a lap will be Istrai as he comes through the triple right-hander. So we'll see how this goes. I missed Gerber going pole actually with 132.1. That's a very good lap from Gerber actually. Hello to George Morgan, who is in the chat. The PC F1 commentator is in the chat. Hello to him. But Mr. with a 134.8, is he going on for another lap? Yes, he is. I believe Dion Knoll's going to start his lap. They're the winner last time out in Mexico. We'll stick on board with him for this lap because Dion Knoll's leads in P4 in the championship, 26 points off the championship leader of Dino, who doesn't expect Gareth or Dino not to come out. I think Gareth might do because he is 12 points off the lead, but you know, we'll see. Comes into turn 2. Also, Valentino Rossi crashed there in MotoGP. But it's easily flat in the F1 cars, as previously explained. Into the S sections, took him very, very well. That's how you should do the S sections. Not really lifting off, he's attacking it full beams. 25-1 first sector, I believe that was purple. Clips the curb there a little bit, don't really want to be riding that curb too much. Goes on to the outside, there was a bit of traffic in front of him with 2 Alpines and 2 Alfa Romeos. The Haas has backed off of his try. I think he's actually spun it, or he's going really slowly. I think he's gone off a bit. Yeah, so he's gone onto the grass, but up the hill on the back straight and opens the DRS, approaches 185 miles an hour. So he enters the 8th gear, gets a bit of a slipstream off Tomo Jr. in the Alfa Romeo. You're on a hard braking zone now. Brake it just after the 100 meter board. Clips the curb there beautifully. Now going into the second sector, the last sector, sorry. There could be a bit of traffic that could cost them. Yeah, it's purple sector 2 as well, I believe. Into the downhill left. Took it very well. Opens the car. The traction provided for him now, but he's on traction control. The triple right-hander goes a bit wide. You want to go as safe to the inside as possible. So it's the shorter. You have to go to the right there and cost you a bit of time. Into the final corner now. What is going to be? This could be a potential for a 132.9. Gerber's time is something else. He's 8 tenths clear. I believe he's up already. Very quickly. This man got a puncture. He got a very odd puncture in Mexico on lap 2 in the wet. You'll come across. Oh, nest the corner up a bit. That might lose him some time. Going into the final corner now. This could be a 31. No, he invalidates. What would it have been? Would have been a 32-1. He's angry with himself. He's very angry with himself. Tom will be coming, we're joining now. Yeah, just messaged me that, saying that. Yeah, the revving on this game is annoying. Like, there's a glitch in the game. There's also another glitch that there was findings that were put out. We're stick on board the MP here. Those findings were put out that basically you can't join and set a lap in mid-qualifying. You can go out, but there's a new glitch in the game. I don't know what it is. There's a new glitch in the game saying that you cannot join. You just can't join. You can't join mid for qualifying and race. There's no explanation. But you say basically they're not allowed to set a lap. Mr. Grumpy please on a lap and he's 4.4 seconds off. We have a PSGL legend flying foam in the chat. Obviously old time PSGL F2 admin. The MP comes plus he's 6 tenths up going into sector 2 split. This could be interesting. It takes a very narrow line into that corner there. That could help him. Comes into the triple right-hander as Tom has joined me in the party now. Triple right-hander. Penultimate corner now. Got a bit wide. That could lose him some time. Round the final corner now. Clips the inside curb on the outside. Opens the DRS. And comes across the line 32.9 as we all say hello to Tom.
Jack, how are we? Apologies for my late arrival. And it seems as though that Gerber has set the pace so far, which is very, very good with Sarking in P2. Dion Noel Jempe, who is in for the first time tonight, believe it or not, it's his first appearance, with Josh, Istrai, Mr. Grumpy, Sabetti, Lutzered, Milan and Flying Karat have all set times as well. The pivotal one in the championship, Jack, with the gap being 14 points between the championship leader, Mr. Grumpy, not Mr. Grumpy, sorry, Mr. Dino, who is in the lead with Gareth Hall in second place. The championship cannot be decided here, but a big result here for Dino could take him a giant step closer to the inaugural PSGL F13 title. Yeah, and also with a break week being next week as well, you know, this could be a key factor, obviously. But also the break week next week is for the esports, I think. Obviously, we go into Azerbaijan and Brazil, the penultimate 2 rounds of the season, and that they sure will provide some good racing. Street circuits on this game aren't the best of friends of anyone. As Julian Palmer said, you have to be alert on a street circuit more than ever now. But Stay will come across the line and he's at a 33.5 on mediums, I believe. Oh no, it's on softs, my bad. My apologies. But yeah, Tom, how are we? Hope you're okay. It seems like this will be a good race, Tom. Yeah, and Austin has hosted some brilliant races in the past as well, and I really look forward to seeing how this one goes. As we watch Istrai make his way through. He's on an outlap as well from my perspective, and there's also one of the McLarens is going over the line as well, because Milan had to complete a lap on the softs for the first time. So it's going to be a 1 minute 33.4, which puts him up to P7.
Yeah, good luck for Marlon. You know, this track is very heavy reliant on downforce, obviously, sector 1 especially in the S section. I think it's based off Suzuka, obviously, and you've got sector 3, which is a very special sector in terms of the triple right-hander, which I don't think we've seen like the likes of on a track before, really. You know, flat out, it's so good, so special to watch in real life, and it's very good to watch on this game as well. But on board as aero specialist, I believe he's on the lap. He's got a bit of traffic in his way here, Tom.
Yes, most definitely. And just watch. Well, Istrai is on the lap as well. Steve, who needs a very strong result here today. He's not on a fast lap by the looks of things. Now, the clock on my end is different to what it is at your end, so I'm quite out of sync actually on the time. But I've got the stream up anyway from my end, yeah. Jack. So we've got around about 4 minutes remaining in this qualifying session.
Oh, arrow's backed off. There's a cunt pit.
Remarkable 15 minutes. So I think it's because when I arrived, it just I think when I first joined the lobby, rather than showing the actual time of how long we've got left in qualifying. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem at my end.
Obviously, we could excuse me, we could potentially see a 4-way championship battle towards the end if Dino does struggle for results. As Sarking has retired, I believe, in the pit lane. We could see a 4-way championship battle because Dion Noel has produced himself, has put himself back in that conversation alongside Stay and Gareth Hall, because he won the last time out of Mexico, and Dino is struggling here big time on the mediums. Oh, he's absolutely wrestling that car through that little bit of section there. It's a tricky section anyway, and if you're wrestling the car through there, you're going to lose heaps amount of time. But obviously, Dion Knoll in the championship equation now, potentially 26 points off in P4, and its nearest championship rival will stay is in P8, and the other two are on the back row of the grid.
So we've seen that very often from Gareth Hall and Dino throughout the season. On a number of occasions, we've seen those two starting at the back and fighting their way through, which does help. And I think, to be fair, on a traditional racetrack like the Circuit of the Americas, getting through the field is a pivotal part here. And I've got a feeling that Gareth Hall and Dino are going to fight their way through as Josh comes over the line with an invalidated lap time. Let's just begin a new one now.
Mr. Grumpy will come through the final corner. He wrenched that car a little bit into the final corner with a 33 flat, which is a very good lap. And considering Gerber is 4 attempts cleared everyone else, that isn't too bad. Gerber set a 32.1 very early. Did his in Mexico as well. He set a very good lap time in Mexico and just stayed there and got P2 in the end. And was unlucky with the puncture and come back, I think, to get, I believe, P4, P5. So yeah, recovery drive was quite good. But obviously, this is the track you can overtake at, so maybe this is why Dino and Gaffel are both just starting from the back of the grid, because you can overtake it at this track.
Most definitely, and there are 2 DRS zones on this racetrack, one on the pit straight, one on the back straight as well. As Josh comes down the back straight as well, I think he's invalidated his lap time actually, so not going to see an improvement from him. Mr. Grumpy, I think, is the only one on the fast lap, other than Jehoven, has just started a flying lap now. So we'll look to see where the drivers will end up. Mr. Grumpy coming through turn 12. And in sector 2, how is he by sector 2? Oh, he's way off in sector 2.
Yeah, he backed to the start of that.
Okay, so we'll go to
the Empire. Just lost it on the lost it into turn 1. I think set up anyway. He went above Mr. Grumpy.
So Jehoven is the next driver on a fast lap. Let's see how he's getting on, because he has not posted a time yet in the session. Flying Credit's the next one to retire from the session. He hasn't set a representative time. I think he's thinking more about race strategy. And it's the same with Gareth Hall. He won't be going out for a run. So looking at around 1 minute 3, so I think, for the second sector, unless you're Gerber or someone like that. Jehoven's posted a 1 minute 4.6. Now, believe it or not, he achieved his best result in the PSGL for a long time, Jack, last week. P4 it was. What a result it was for him.
Yeah, it was a good result. You know, it's been a long time coming as well, you know. But obviously, it's a new week now. He's got to repeat that. And if he doesn't repeat that, then people will see it as just a one-time thing as Juho Finn comes into the pits, as he said, you know. He done well, but at the end of the day, he got it on penalties, but he needs to repeat it, because obviously people will just say, oh, it's a one-time thing, you know. But I know the pace Juho has. I know the experience that he has as well. He is good at this, and this is odd, because Gerber's just slipstreaming Dion Knoll, but I don't think Gerber's going to representative lap at all. But, you know, this could be Dion Knoll's lap to go on pole. He needs to improve by 8 tenths per second here to go on pole. He does kind of mess up the S section a little bit. He went a bit wide coming into that final right-hander, but it is a temp up coming into sector 2. As he starts sector 2 now, takes a long right and into a short left. Opens himself up down the hill now to go into the hairpin. That will open himself up. He needs to get a good exit here. As Josh goes P3 with a 132.885. That's a good performance from him. He's needed that. He's needed that for a long, long time. Here we go then. Open to DRS. We'll actually stick on board with Stay, because Stay's coming across. He's 6 tenths up here. This will be a 32.9 if he continues this. Into the penultimate corner, takes that very, very well. Loses a little bit back end loss. Opens himself up for the final corner. Takes a good line. Opens the DRS. Short approach to the line. 32.6. Good lap there, Tom.
Very good lap from Stay. 8 tenths faster than what he set before. Dion Knoll going 2 tenths faster than when he did so last time. Luke Surratt is coming through in the Ferrari. Can he get into the top 10 with this lap? Yes, he can. He goes 10 fastest with 1:33.4. So Dion Knoll is coming through. Gerber is not on a fast lap at the moment, so Dion Knoll is the last driver to attempt to improve. He nearly lost it coming out of turn 19. Coming through the last corner, rear wing open. Dion Knoll goes third with a 1:32.6, which is not too bad of an effort. he will start the race on the clean side of the grid as well. So after all that, Gerber is on pole position, not for the first time this season, but he has yet to win a race this season, I believe, as Gerber, so he's hoping to convert that into the race victory. With Sarking alongside him. Now Sarking, who has already won in Japan, albeit retrospectively, will start second here in Austin, with Dion Knoll third ahead of Steve, and Josh doing very well. I think that's his best qualifying position in a long time for Josh, so he will start fifth. JP in sixth on debut, called in as a reserve tonight in place of one of the AlphaTauri drivers. Mr. Grumpy seventh, had a Milan in a decent eighth spot. Savetti ninth for Alfa Romeo, with Luke Red in 10th place. Istrai and NSR outside the top 10 in 11th and 12th. Flying correct, the last of those to have set a lap time of any sort. Tommy Jr. 14th, ahead of Camrals and Aero on the 8th row, with Jehoven, Garofol and Dino at the back of the grid.
Yeah, I'd say not an unusual front row, but not one I expected coming into this race. But obviously, unless you want to stream now, Tom, because obviously you are the main commentator here, I was just doing this because obviously you weren't here. But we will just stop the stream before the race so that we can change over, so Tom can show you his perspective, because he is the main one here and he's the one that does stream these races. So we will be back with you in just about 35 seconds. Count them yourself.